I think, you know, one of the things, what you've been missing by not being there over these years and over these decades are the same things that we as journalists have been missing out on since the election last June 2009. Because very, very few of us, even those like me who've been going repeatedly over the years, have not been able to go back since the election last year. So, but the kind of things that we miss are the kind of things that, you know, they're not always so apparent when you're outside. You read the news reports, you see the wire pictures, you see the stories, and you think you might be getting a full picture of what's going on. But the kind of things that you miss are the kind of things that, I mean, just to give, you know, one example, you know, to be there on the very day that Ahmadinejad was elected, for example, in 2005. Now, at the end of the day, the imagery was a picture of Ahmadinejad putting in his ballot, and a picture of Rafsanjani, who was the main contender in the final round, putting in his ballot. But what those pictures and the stories didn't tell you, which you had to be there to taste and to feel and to get the texture of, was that the first one to vote was Rafsanjani, who of course is an old guard, you know, kind of a Hojatollah. He's not a very high-ranking, you know, theologian, but he's obviously a huge character in the establishment. So when he voted in the place where Khomeini, the father of the revolution, used to preach. It's a nice, you know, nice place. It's all very well organized. They put up a piece of string, and we journalists all stood there behind this piece of string, and the man came walking in like an emperor, right? Perfectly pressed robes, everything was fine. And then he nodded appreciatively to the, you know, to the election officials and things. He cast his ballot. He then stopped at the podium on his way out and said, "I dedicate my life to ending, you know, religious fanaticism in this country." And he stepped out, swept out the door more than stepped out. So this is the first thing. This is the old guard establishment voting. But what you needed to feel and taste and eat, in fact, on that day in 2005 was the scene that took place in eastern Tehran in Narmak, which is where Ahmadinejad voted. Because we raced down there to see what the scene was going to look like where he voted. Remember, he's supposed to be this man of the people and all this kind of stuff. He's not a cleric. He's definitely not cut from the same cloth that Rafsanjani is cut from, or that the very erudite, you know, former president Mohammad Khatami is cut from. No, he's something very different. So we raced down there, and we're all sitting, you know, photographers, we're all jammed up on this tiny little ledge in a very small room adjacent to a mosque. And it's already tight, everybody's sweating, this happens all the time in elections, you're jammed in there. So the moment Ahmadinejad walks in, it's like someone's rolled a grenade down the aisle. Boom! It goes off. The man comes in and bear hugs his way and kisses his way through this entire crowd. And the scene could not be more different. This is the popular flavor, this is the popular feel that you can see in action in the subsequent 5 years. How he handles his politics is very much a part of that. And if you didn't see that transition on that day, if you didn't feel it, if you didn't write about it, then you probably missed something in terms of the translation. This man isn't just a, you know, it hasn't just kind of come in from outer space, and, you know, we all focus on, you know, all these different, you know, wild statements. And, but what that, you know, that's the kind of thing that we miss, that you've missed, Gary, over all these years of not being able to go, but that we also, that texture that we miss by not being able to go back these days.